Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Contest of Champions. So here lately, as far as the Contest of Champions goes, there's been a lot more talk about whether to push the button or not to push the button. Whether Nebula and Yondu are good champions or not, or if they should be tech characters. The debate has been rolling on a lot. But one of the key things that I have not noticed is the new mini-bosses. Sure, it's been talked about, but nobody, I don't think, has really given a really good game plan as far as being able to get through these guys. Now, I've got up on the screen here, I've made a couple little images. They're not the best in the world, but, you know, you do what you can do and you work with what you can work with. Map 1, the new mini-bosses are Luke Cage. This to me, this and map 2 actually are like the easiest mini bosses possible. I don't think it really matters who you bring in against Luke Cage. You're going to be able to plow through him. Me personally, if I was going up against that Luke Cage though, I would bring in a Star-Lord because he's going to be able to effectively get by his physical resist and his armor, his natural armors. Biggest problem I think that people are going to have with him is that fact, but not too shabby as far as a map 1 mini boss goes. Most of you guys should be able to get through him very easily no matter what champion you bring in. If you want to bypass his indestructible and you have a high ranking Black Widow, that's a good way to do it, and then you don't have to worry about the indestructible at the very beginning of the fight. But with the way that they dropped her percentage of her ability, even at SIG level 99, he's still going to be able to proc that at some point in the fight. Moving on into map 2, Iron Fist, Hulkbuster, Black Panther. These are all going to be really easy fights for you guys, or at least they should be. I would think the hardest one out of that bunch is probably going to be Hulkbuster. The other two are really easy to take down and evade their specials. Hulkbuster also very easy to evade his special 1. Don't push him to his special 2. Just keep pushing him to his special 1 with Black Panther and Iron Fist. Doesn't matter if you push them to their L1s or their L2s. You're still going to be able to evade them pretty easily. As far as that goes though, Iron Fist and Black Panther, I don't think it really matters who you bring in against those guys. You should have an easy time taking them down. Hulkbuster may be a little bit more tricky with all the armor ups that he can gain. I would think someone along the lines of Hyperion if you have him, or a Thor. Thor could come back into play big time as far as this map goes, and as far as I'm concerned, and he may fall in on the next category as well. So map 3 and 4. Map 3 probably has some of the more tricky characters, or at least with Agent Venom, that's definitely trickier. I think they mixed things up pretty well here between map 3 and 4, and they gave a variety of characters to go up against. We have, you know, Black Widow, Agent Venom, Colossus on map 3. Map 4 we have Quake, Dr. Voodoo, and Howard the Duck. So to me, essentially this is in a range of easy champions to go up against, which would be Colossus and Howard, and also a medium range difficulty, which would be Black Widow and Dr. Voodoo, and a little bit more difficult between Agent Venom and Quake. So it's you don't exactly have a cakewalk in map 3 or map 4, but you could possibly have it on certain days. All you need to do is just go in and make sure and check, because we're allowed to go in and check the maps before we even start. And you'll want to tailor, if you are mini boss killers, you're going to want to tailor the champions that you bring in to go up against these characters. Black Widow, I don't think it really matters who you bring in against Black Widow. She's fairly easy to fight against anymore since they dropped her subtlety so much. The worst part about her is the evade, which comes at random, and I think it happens a lot more than the percentage that it's supposed to. But that's just my opinion. I don't think it really matters who you bring in against her, though. She's going to be an easy knockout as long as you play more on the cuff and don't just go straight in and just fight and think I'm just going to get an easy 5-hit combo on her. Bring in who you want to, play carefully, play defensively, and just do the best you possibly can, and you'll be okay against her. Agent Venom is a character that's a little bit more tricky. I have found, whenever I go up against Agent Venom, that they're usually, even if his tenacity proc off of a parry stun, that there is still a little bit of a window that you can clear to get in and take him out. Effectively, I don't think it really matters which one of his abilities that you try to push him to, L1 or L2 or L1. It's still going to be a little bit more difficult. The L2 is probably a lot more easy to evade than the L1 is. I don't think I've ever effectively been able to avoid his L1 completely. So this guy you definitely just have to play very, very carefully against. Try to get in as best you can off the parries to attack him, and you just got to go from there. He's just going to be a little bit more difficult. I've never found a character that could effectively go up against him and take him down properly the way that you need to. He's always been a little bit more tricky for me. And Colossus, bring your Star-Lord in, and you've got this guy down. Star-Lord, Hyperion, any Thor, this guy would just he's going to get wrecked. It's just that's your easy fight for that one. Map 4, Quake is definitely going to be your hardest opponent to go up against, just because of the fact that if you don't have her L1 down to a T on how to evade it, you're going to get caught, and you're probably going to get stunned, because I've seen it happen many times where I'll get caught with an L1 and still get the stun even off of the 2 hits that it gives. Your best bet is trying to push her to an L2, and honestly, it really doesn't matter what champion you bring in against her. You want to bring in someone who has enough fire behind them to take her down as quickly as possible. That's the biggest thing. So I would still bring in players like Thor and Hyperion and characters of that nature, Star-Lord. Just get the evade down on the L1 if you can't push her to an L2. The L2 is so easy to evade, it's not even funny. The L1 can be a little bit tricky if you don't have the timing down properly, and that can really turn around to bite you in the rear end. Dr. Voodoo, just keep pushing him to his L1. Doesn't matter what champion you bring in against him. The guy doesn't exactly hit for that much, but the biggest problem I think that there's going to be out of him is the regen that he gets at the very start of the fight. If you can survive through that regen, you're not going to have any issues with him. Or if you can bring in a character that's going to be able to heal block him, such as Vision Age of Ultron, and there are several others that could do it as well, but Vision Age of Ultron's the one that just pops in the top of my head. If you can power lock him at the very start of the fight, then you're good to go. Or a Civil Warrior. Civil Warrior would definitely be very good against this guy, because you don't even have to use a special to be able to heal block off of him. Just do, parry, heavy attack, and he's already heal blocked. And just keep doing it over until his regen is gone. Aside from that, though, his L1 is probably one of the easiest moves in the game that I've found to evade. Just get out of the way, watch for the purple puddle to pop up and go, and then come right in at him as soon as that purple shoots up into the air. And you're good to take him down. I think that, I honestly think that Map 4 has 2 very easy characters to go up against in Dr. Voodoo and Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck, same thing as Colossus. You want to take him down quick. You want to throw some armor breaks on him. You want to do as much damage as you possibly can. Thor, Hyperion, Star-Lord, all good characters to take down Howard. He's definitely going to be the easiest one. Like with Colossus, he is Colossus's Map 4. You just have to play carefully, though. Play carefully. It's the same as any of the other maps we've ever ran before. Just play carefully, and you'll be fine. Now let's move into Map 5 and 6. Map 5, we have the rotation as well. Map 6 is going to stay exactly the same, so we'll cover that here in just a second. Map 5, I do not really think there are too many characters here that are really considered to be very easy fights. Cable, we've got the power gain and the regen that he can do on top of the degen if we end up getting caught with a heavy attack. Rhino, he's got that unstoppable, unblockable combination off of his medium swipe attack that would come towards us if you're not close to him. And Mordo, he's still a pain in the butt to me. He's always been a pain in the rear end to me. Even running in Alliance Wars, people said, bring in your Quake to take him out, and I did that, actually did that today, and she just didn't seem like she was all that effective against him. It could have been the node that he was possibly on. He was a mini boss node just before you got to the main boss, but he still gave me troubles. So I personally like Hulk the most against Mordo, because even if you do lose a little bit of health that from the degen if you get caught, because today I noticed that even though I parried successfully out of his L1, I still got caught with the degen, and it made no sense to me whatsoever that I would get a degeneration proc on my Quake, despite the fact that I had successfully evaded out of his L1. But it still happened. So I like characters like Hulk up against him more than I do anybody else, because even if you do get the degen proc put on you, you're able to do more damage as that wears down. So me personally, I would bring in Hulk against Mordo. Rhino, you have to play very carefully. I've never really had too many troubles out of Rhino. It doesn't matter what character that I bring in. Mostly you play really close. You don't give him enough room to be able to come in at you with that swipe medium attack. You don't let him have it. If he doesn't have that, you successfully nullify the unblockable and unstoppable that he gets off of his swipe attack move. You play close to the cuff. If you can parry. I've found this out a few times. You just stay really close, do your 5-hit combo, time the parry perfectly, and he comes in, you catch him with another parry, he's stunned again. Usually he'll build up to his L1, which I think either one of his L1 or L2s are very easy to evade. Whenever he gets to that point, just kind of watch, look for the signs that he's going to use them, back out, come right in as soon as he's done, and just keep, stomping on him. I think that guy's going to be the easiest mini boss fight as far as map 5 goes. Cable, I haven't really ran into too many cables in the game to go up against. The most notable one was on Act 5, Chapter 1, Mission 6. And usually I didn't have too many problems going up against that Cable with Hulk or an Age of Vision Ultron or any other character of that nature. Now, I think that Civil Warrior and Age of Vision Ultron will come in really handy against this guy more than anybody else, because of the fact that he does have that power gain and power... Because he does have that power gain and regeneration. With Age of Vision Ultron, you can essentially work with how his power is given to him with his L1 and his L2, but also off of those you have the potential to heal block as well, so he would be a very good character to go up against Cable. If you play with Civil Warrior, then you can also relegate what kind of health that he's allowed to build back up off of his heavy attacks, and if you are able to hit the special attacks, then you prolong that even more. Special 2, you'll be able to take care of his power gains by essentially draining him a good portion of it with the L2. Those are probably my two best options for Cable, but you guys can be the judge of that. If you want to go in and just try to waylay him down as best you can, as fast as you can also bring in Star-Lord. But I haven't really found too many effective ways to evade out of his L1, so the L2 is definitely much easier to evade out of because it's only a couple of shots as opposed to that rapid fire succession shot of his L1. And then moving on into map 6, we have Hyperion. And from what we've seen, Kabam has said that the map really isn't going to change for map 6, but things are going to get a little bit shook up between 2 and 5. And if that's the case, then we've got a power gain champion on power gain nodes. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult. Probably not as bad as what it seems, but if you have a rank 4 5-star magic awakened, you're good to go. That's the absolute perfect champion in my mind to go up against this Hyperion. If you don't and you have rank 5's Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange, you're going to be good to go as well, because you're going to not only... There's no way to get rid of the power gain that he gets from the node itself, unless you're able to, you know, power block him, which you could do off of Scarlet Witch or Magic. But the big workaround, because he gets so much more power from his own ability, is blocking that power gain that he gets himself. And you can either do that by power blocking him or nullifying, which is why I say Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch, because they can essentially nullify. Even a Scarlet Witch who's not been awakened can nullify that ability. And Doctor Strange the same way. That's his signature ability. He needs to be awakened, though, to be able to do it. But for me personally, Magic, I think anybody like myself, if you're like me and you have a rank 4 or 5-star Magic, Hyperion's just going to get wrecked. So hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. And then finally we move on into the big bad, the final boss for Season 4 of Alliance Quest in Dormammu. I think a lot of people were having a lot of doubts about this guy being a Alliance Quest finishing boss, because there are so many nodes attached to this guy that it's not even funny. Map 6, he's going to have the L1s that are unblockable, so you're definitely going to have to try and evade out of that the best you possibly can, which is L1 isn't exactly the hardest thing in the world to get out of. I'm just going off of the fact that, you know, they've said that a lot of stuff in Map 6 isn't going to change as far as nodes go and things of that nature, because Kang had an unblockable L1. I think Dormammu will probably still have that same thing, but the L1 isn't that hard to evade, and that's what you're going to want to push to, because you don't want to get hit with his L2, which, you know, is a rapid fire succession of the balls, his projectile balls that pop out and try to get you. So as far as champions that are going to be good for him, I don't think it really matters. You want to tailor your teams more so than anything else for the paths that you run. And whenever you finally get to the final boss, whether it was Kang or now with Dormammu, you just want to play the best that you possibly can with the characters that you have to try and take down everything. And hopefully on your team of 10 people who bring in, you know, it's 30 champions altogether, there'll be enough health left on those guys by the time you get to the final boss that not just one single person has to do the work. Everybody can pitch in and help and take him down. Even if that means there's only one champion left between all 10 people, that's still 10 attempts at the guy. So hopefully you'll be able to take him down. But that's my take on Alliance Quest Season 4, new mini bosses and the final boss. Like I said, I haven't seen too many people out there make videos specifically on these mini bosses and what the strategy could possibly be to take them down. And I just kind of wanted to throw that out there the day before we all have to jump in headlong into this new season and not be completely caught off guard. This is the big thing that I thought about. I didn't think about pushing a button. I wasn't thinking about Yondu and Nebula. I was thinking about who on my team is going to be the best to be able to bring in to go up against these guys. Hopefully this has helped you guys think about it a little bit more. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. But that's going to be it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider leaving a sub on it. And if you do, hit that bell notification button so you get notifications every single time I do videos or go live. Also follow me on Twitter. All that stuff will be posted there as well. Link will be down in the description below. But that's going to be it, guys. Later.